Welcome to the Phantom Zone.
Hello and welcome to And Now Comics. I'm Lou Gonzalez. Joining us this week is John Seiler.
I completely forgot that we were doing this early because I also had Survivor Series in the background.
Oh, so you're just giving money? Oh, well, actually, this could go into our thing, so I'll hold my comment about giving money to a bad corporation or pirating it.
John forgot out of blind rage.
Yeah. So then we have other John Scott.
Hello.
And first timer on here, OG Phantom Zoner Eric Fedorchak.
Be gentle. It's my first time.
Oh,
Yes.
shit, I didn't realize it was the first time on here. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you just raised our median age up like 25 years.
Easily, if not more.
Oh, does this mean Eric's going to be casting a spell from his castle in wherever?
No.
Whatever, I don't know.
No,
Yeah, I
they're
think-
from the
yeah, 'cause
wilds of Lancaster.
I think Seiler's like slightly older than me, so now Seiler, you're no longer the oldest guy on the podcast.
Oh, thank God.
So when you're watching Survivor Series, did you pay for it or are you pirating it?
No, I paid for it. I have the network.
Uh,
I don't have Disney Plus, but I have the WWE network. So
that is a terrible decision.
So that shows my priorities right now.
So
I mean, I don't have Funimation, but my buddy lets me use his account, so...
Same here. I have a friend who has he has Crunchyroll in Funimation, and I pay him a couple bucks to basically siphon off of it.
yeah, well, that's what my entire family does. So my in-laws have Verizon, so they got a free year of Disney Plus, so we're using theirs.
Yeah,
And we use their
Yeah, I mean,
HBO, but we pay for Netflix and Hulu.
but I feel like that's all accounts. It's I've lent out my WWE account to people. My mom uses my Netflix account. My sister uses at a time she used my Hulu account when I had it.
Yeah, my parents would let me use their HBO Go account and their login to whatever cable service they had. But when that stopped working for whatever reason, I stopped trying to watch the stuff until I could pay for it my fucking self.
Yes, I guess I don't know, which kind of gets into just happened is Donnie Cates went to war on Twitter with people.
Yeah, seems
Yeah,
to be this.
Well, and it's funny because I saw the Discord about it this morning, but I wasn't necessarily sure where it originated at. But it's actively a conversation I have a lot of times, especially within the manga industry.
Yeah, that's the thing with you working in the industry. I imagine that's something that actually gets brought up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the titles that we have published is so well known within in the piracy scene that it has an alternate name in the piracy scene, and that's what people mainly know it as.
Oh wow!
Even though in the description, so the book is called Metamorphosis, and people know it as Emergence. And even to the point where the writer artist Shindo L has even stated in the foreword to the book that the proper title for the book is Metamorphosis.
That's odd. I've never heard of something like that happening where it has a completely different title based on the amount of piracy that's going on for something.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is the whole thing. It starts with a tweet that got retweeted that Donnie Cates retweeted, where a guy was at 10_bandit says, "How do you get your stuff taken off a pirate site? Crowded's up to 95,000 reads on one I just looked at while I'm completely broke."
Yeah. Christopher Sabella, who's the writer of Crowded, bunch of other stuff. I retweeted that this morning.
Yeah, and that's basically what set this whole thing off.
That's so gross.
And Christopher Sabella, he's Eisner award nominee. Crowded was optioned for a series or a movie. Crowded's got nominated for an Eisner. It's not like he's just another guy. This is the perfect example of a guy who's kind of big within comics but not super big, and a lot of these creators live and die by what a monthly does, and he's not the only one.
Well, is this his only work, or has he done other stuff? And I'm only asking.
He worked on Unstoppable Wasp. like in a Captain Marvel book from Marvel. He also did like
Mhm.
Shanghai Red for Image. He's like kind of like one of those guys who has like a ton of books.
Okay.
But Crowded is his like kind of most well known.
But I mean, it would be kind of his magnum opus at this point, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then pay the guy. Like, don't.
Don't be that dick.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say, like, I like reading through all the tweets. Like, I tried to read them all.
Oh God.
Actually, I was like confused because Christopher Sabella has like the exact same icon for his on his Twitter handle, except for it's blue or it's pink, and this is the inker for Crowded. But like, it's Christopher. Yeah, okay. I was a little confused, but it's still like same people that worked on Crowded, who, and especially as an inker who like does not get paid like the going rate of a writer or artist.
Yes.
My point still entirely stands. Don't steal books.
Yeah.
I guess, like, again, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a bit. Like, from reading through the tweets, I get the arguments people are saying. One, why do you need to tell the guy? Like, that's completely unnecessary. Because, like, I, for one, have done many of the things that people say on here. Like, if instead of buying, most of the time, instead of buying a book, I will read it online, and then if I don't like it, I don't buy it. If I do like it, then I start buying the series. I would never tweet an artist or like any of these people about it, though.
Yeah, I think that's what bothers me the most. Is just like, let me tweet at the guy that I'm stealing his work. That's a smart move.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous sense of entitlement. And some of the follow-up tweets to the person saying, like, oh, I pirate your work, they're praising him like he's some sort of modern day Robin Hood, which I just
and Donny Cates gives like a great kind of argument back. It's like, oh, I live in like a place where I can't do this. It's like, if you can figure out how to torrent, you can figure out how to use Comixology.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, yeah, those apps, like, I don't know how they work overseas, which I would say is maybe the only argument I could think of, is if you somehow move somewhere where they don't work there.
I could see that, but
which,
I feel like
we don't have Connor on here, Irving, because like for him, a lot of the buying the physical copies of books is a nightmare because their prices get jacked up so high to get shipped to like even though it's Canada, like they still get jacked up so high. So if you're living somewhere, like it might really change, but I'm sure that there's still ways to do it.
Well, and my argument is,
well, like there is a way to read Marvel comics on the cheap. It's called Marvel Unlimited. You're just 6 months behind,
patient. Yeah,
and you can read everything there for like $10 a month.
Yep,
or $8 or whatever the price is for it. But it's like it's like entertainment. It's like it's not like food or gas or the bare necessities of living. It's like if you can pay like and I understand comics are expensive and Marvel releases too many different books, and there is a problem with like the industry, especially Marvel, where they release so many different books and then they get canceled in like 5 issues because they can't find an audience because they don't have the marketing. Or they don't have.
That just happened with the Loki book.
It happens with the Future Foundation book. It happens with a lot of books, and it sucks, right?
Yeah, I would say because
a
you big feel part bad. Of this is that music went through this 15, 20 years ago, like something the late 90s, and movies kind of did too, and that's why, and like television, that's why we have like Netflix and Hulu now, and comics has never really. I don't think it's really adjusted to the internet marketplace. And because the problem is that the price point on those apps is the same as the hard copy. Yeah. And it makes no sense.
Well, and it's like John was saying, my point was going to be is comics are a nice to have, not a need to have. Like if you're gonna bitch about how expensive they are, then you don't need to have them really. Like, or at least that's a little bit elitist. If you're gonna bitch about how expensive they are and then pirate them, like get fucked. Like seriously, dude.
Well, and like try to make it a good like that you're awesome for pirating it too.
Well,
exactly.
And also, Comixology does sales all the time. If you're like eagle-eyed and you keep your ear to the ground, like Humble Bundle always has like specific deals you can get. Like right now, I saw like a deal at Valiant where they're offering like every single Bloodshot comic for like $30.
I can't remember. I bought
Everything.
one.
Everything that's Bloodshot. And
What
it's
was
like,
it?
The
Descender.
Boys?
Who did that?
Rick Remender.
Yeah. No, I didn't remember. It was Garth
Jeff Lemire.
Ennis.
Oh,
I think.
Descender? That's not Garth Ennis.
Was it? I don't remember who it was, but it was
No,
like
Garth-
every
Jeff Lemire.
Jeff Lemire. Yeah,
Jeff,
and it was
that's
like Jeff
yeah.
Lemire one. I think that was the one before the Boys one. It was like
Yeah.
almost every Jeff Lemire like non DC Marvel thing, any like all end like kind of indie stuff for like $15.
Yeah, I picked
all
up
of it.
I picked up the Garth Ennis Boys one because it was like what 15 or 20 bucks to get all of the Boys and then like an additional like 8 or 9 trades that I was like, all right, I'll check these out. You know, I like
Mhm.
Garth Ennis for the most part. So
And Humble Bundle's also like a great thing because it's like
Mhm.
donating stuff towards stuff. So
Mhm.
I kind of like it's I guess the part I have the biggest problem is like why even bring it up to them? And
it's a shit move.
yeah.
Like it
But-
the one thing I have, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I've never watched a pirated movie before because I have, but I've ended up buying them at some point too. Like I have 2 bootleg Tyler Stout prints, and I bought them because I really love the way they look, not because I'm trying to pass them off as the real thing. And I've seen other like artists who do stuff for Mondo and various other poster companies who have said like, you know, as long as you're not trying to resell it as the real thing, go ahead, buy the bootleg. I understand my stuff is really expensive at times. Like that's the only way I've ever gotten behind that, and that's the only times I've ever bought bootlegs of anything is just because there's no way I'm spending $3,000 on 2 posters.
also, by the way, if you're like so poor that you can't buy comic books, and then go to your local library. Like,
Yep.
like if you go and check out a book from the library, that directly also helps the artists and writers of those books.
Mhm.
It's like,
Also,
yeah.
I know libraries are having their own little free like online rental services. Like I have
Yeah,
one
so-
of mine called
Hoopla.
Hoopla, yeah. I've checked it out too. I guess like the only argument I think against this kind of stuff is if you don't live in the United States and you live somewhere that maybe you don't have access to any of the stuff. Which I don't even know what countries don't have access to Marvel Unlimited or Comixology.
Well, but then the argument comes up like, how did you even get into comics if you can't get this
You moved,
stuff?
maybe you moved.
Maybe, yeah. I can.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. I think any excuse for piracy, and especially if you're going to be this fucking privileged about it, is kind of gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, I think this would change is if like the companies adjusted the way that these apps work. Like if DC or Marvel, whoever said like, all right, $8 a month, something like that. I don't even know what's a good price point, which is probably the problem. And you
Yeah.
get like access to like every weekly book.
I could even see if Marvel would, instead of make it 6 months, like just do 3 months. Then you would have so many more people, I think, jumping on it. Like I have Marvel Unlimited. I like it, but there's definitely times I'm like, man, I want to read this, but this is in that
Yeah.
weird stage
Here,
in between.
I think this could work. It's like $10 a month. Maybe that's a little high still, but $10, and you get to pick out like 5 books. And then if you need more books, you have to pay like another $10, like more than 5 books to get them on time.
I don't know. I mean, if it's going to be stuff that's directly on time, yes. Like if you could.
That's what I
add-
mean. Like, yeah, it's a
on top
monthly
of-
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that would actually be a really smart way, and Marvel could then be like, hey, you know, it's cheaper than buying the books in the store.
Yeah.
well, and it's okay. So like, there's a story that came out today that's being published by, at least I saw the story originated from IGN, was that Disney is currently removing Baby Yoda gifts from like sites over copyright.
What?
I don't know if that's real.
So if Disney can get people to like DMCA Baby Yoda gifts online, how have they not DMCA'd all these pirated sites like pirating Marvel Comics?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
It's
literally.
priorities.
Yeah. True.
I mean,
I literally just typed it in our chat here. I'm still seeing Baby Yoda gifs.
Yeah, I don't think that's even physically possible.
it's from a Forbes article from what it looks like. I mean, weird things have been tried to be scrubbed from the internet. So.
Oh yeah, well, Nintendo's kind of notorious for trying to do shit like that. So.
But it's like,
Beyonce
you know,
tried to do that once.
it's like, I don't know why, and like we deal with piracy like all the time. Like people lift our shit like all the time, and you try and like send DMCA's. But the problem with piracy sites is that piracy site will go down, and then another one will just replace it, and then that one will go down, another one will replace it. And the way that like the way that like anime got past a lot of piracy was that it made it easier to watch anime.
Well, yeah.
I don't know for like
Crunchyroll, VRV.
Well, it's like in the
those
90s,
things.
it's like a lot of stuff was like overseas, and some stuff that did come over here was like very expensive,
Yes.
very limited, very niche, and so like in the 2000s with Crunchyroll, like. And like I'm not debating there are people who are like, well, like I don't support Crunchyroll or Funimation because I don't like how they do the dubs. It's like get out of here with that. It's like for the most part, it's like it makes it super easy for people to basically watch day and date with the Japanese release, and that's better than piracy, I think.
Yeah, then that's what I use to watch stuff, like because it's more convenient. I don't have to go looking for stuff. I don't have to worry about viruses or any other bullshit, and I can just do it on my Apple TV. And I want to say like it's like this is catching up to where like movies, TV, and music has been for like 10 to 20 years already. It's just I don't think it'll change until there's some sort of like Spotify or Crunchyroll for comics that is actually like a monthly pay service. Yeah, because I feel like most people, like, it seems like with everything, like a $5 to $10, everyone is kind of okay with paying that monthly to get their entertainment that they want.
Yeah, no, I think $10 is kind of the sweet spot. It's just
it's like $2.5.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I honestly, if Marvel was like, hey, you spend another $5 a month and you can get stuff like 3 months earlier than the 6 month, I would even think about doing that. Because you wouldn't feel quite as far behind. Because I mean, there's definitely stuff that like I want to read.
They're not DC where like you can wait 6 months and then you're still waiting for that book to come out,
or the entire series is taken off of their server. Yeah. I don't know. That's the other thing that bothers me with some of the digital comic services, though, is that they, specifically DC and Marvel, they're acting like server space for this stuff is something that's ridiculously tough to deal with, and I can't imagine it takes up that much space, guys.
Well, with the DC stuff, it's like, are they yanking stuff off Comixology because of DC Universe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is like a whole nother thing of like, is DC Universe going to continue to even exist? Exactly. With like the Stargirl stuff that kind of, which I don't want to get too much in, but like they basically said, just like they did with Doom Patrol, that like Doom Patrol is going to air like simultaneously on HBO Max, and then Stargirl is going to air next day on CW.
Yeah, it's next day.
What? Why do they even still have an app? It seems like the stupidest thing.
Honestly, it's just at this point, I think they're just going to be folded into HBO Max.
Yeah, it's either going to be folded into Max or it's going to become Marvel Unlimited.
That's fine. I would sign up for that if they get their shit together. Like, because I would love to have access to DC stuff, and it'd be a lot cooler if they would include Vertigo stuff on there. But that's time and place.
Oh, you mean DC Black Label?
Oh God, yeah, that.
I thought you meant DC Hill House.
No, because that's DC Black Label presents Joe. That's DC Black Label presents Joe Hill's Hill House.
If we're honestly being 100% serious, like DC Vertigo is basically Young Animal now.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with that. But I mean, there's older Vertigo titles that I never got to read all of, or I haven't read in years, and I don't want to wait for them to come out on Black Label if they ever do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I like some of the Young Animal stuff, so because I guess the only one I've been reading is what is it? The new Green Lantern one, which I really liked.
Far Sector,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my Hoopla only lets me take out 2 books a month, so I have to be very careful about what I'm choosing.
Yeah, and see, I get like how those things are available, and I think it's really like younger people, because like when I go to my local comic book shop, it's like I bring the age demo way down. Like when I see other people in there, they're all in their like 40s and 50s at least. Like one of the other guys that spends like a ton of dough is like in his 60s to 70s.
That's madness to me.
I don't never see young people in there, like ever.
That's because young people can't afford comics like they used to be able to.
Yeah, which kind of goes back to like the original, like what I was saying is like the issue is like the price point.
Yeah.
The price point, and I also think like Marvel just doesn't do a very good job. Well, like the big two don't do a very good job of getting like new readers into their books. Like they have books that are suitable for new readers, but they don't do a good job in trying to get those books into the hands of people, who would love a book like that. Because we talk about I talk about all the time where like Scholastic with the Rena books are like killing it and are like the biggest books in the industry, or like the a lot of like these kid books are like just basically doing gangbuster numbers, and
Yeah,
you have
I
like
do.
First
Like,
Second who's killing it.
I know my local high school has like a ton of comics and like manga. So I always don't know how to pronounce it.
Manga is killing it. Like
Yeah.
manga is like the best.
I actually see like way more
comic.
kids. Like when I work in like the high school and stuff, like I see way more kids with like anime and manga stuff than like superhero comics.
Well, manga is so much better of a value proposition. Like you buy a book and you have like 100 pages more, like for $20 at most. Like it's actually not even, because I mean I bought some Lone Wolf and Cub omnibuses for like $15. Like it's insane how much you can get for such a low price point. So
and Marvel and DC could easily like have their books be, $3 a month, but they choose not to. Like there's like some Marvel event, or like what was that Marvel thing that's like coming up? It's like where it's like they're the Marvel murder mystery.
Oh yeah, I don't even know the name of it. Yeah.
Do you know how much the first issue of that book is?
I guess $8.
Yeah.
It's $10. Like, why
is it like
would I ever? Why would I, as someone who's a hardcore reader, like spend $10 on the first issue of an event comic, let alone like someone who's off the street? It's like it's absurd.
Yeah,
like that's the price.
Again, it's like
I could get a full volume of My Hero Academia for the price of a $10 32-page issue.
Yeah, I think it goes to like the price is like, well, with the big two, I feel like it has to go to what do they want out of their comics division.
Yeah.
And like, so what does Warner Brothers want to do with DC's comics? And what does Disney want to do with Marvel's comics? And I just don't think they even think about them.
Well,
no.
Marvel or Disney does, because they think of Marvel as an idea factory.
Yes, but I think if they would figure out how to lower the prices or get them in more hands, that using it for that works even better.
Yep.
To like kind of be a test audience for ideas and stuff would work even better.
I mean, you look at like how many people who are buying comics now. It's basically a sample size for. It's like, oh, like this idea was a success. Well, like we'll do, Age of Ultron as a really shitty movie, or we'll do like She-Hulk the TV series.
Well, it's not just them. I think Supergirl is doing Leviathan this season, and that book just ended like 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. Which I guess like, the story didn't totally wrap up, but like the event wrapped up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if they were to reduce the price point, both of the big companies, like they would potentially pull in so many more readers, because $3 is like nothing. Like if I had younger kids, they're like, oh, I want to check out this comic. I'd be like, all right, cool. Here, we'll buy this for you every week or every month or whatever, like, oh, you like this too? All right, cool. I'll buy you like 20 or like $28 worth of comics every month, because that would be nothing. That would be
the problem is also like there's 7 books a week from like each of them.
Exactly.
I mean, DC was doing that for like a while. Like about 6-7 years ago, they had that Hold the Line at $2.99 initiative, and they were like, all of our books are going to be $2.99, and like it made like, at least to me, like a better value proposition than
they're mostly $3.99. I think now they're mostly $3.99 now, with like random ones with like a nicer cover being $4.99. Like
there's like a lot of Marvel books that are like a lot of first issues are $4.99,
all the X-Men stuff is $4.99, which is fucking annoying.
And it's like if there was going to be like any book or like any numbered book that should not be the most expensive of the series, it's the first issue. Like that's the introductory part. Like that's how you rope people in. Like drug dealers do a better job of trying to sell their product to people.
Okay, yeah. So
You give people a little taste for a little bit of money, and then you hook them with like the more expensive shit later.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I'm looking. So Far Sector, which is the DC one, $3.99. X-Men is only $3.99, but X-Force is $4.99. Excalibur is $4.99. History of the Marvel Universe is $4.99, and Fallen Angels is $4.99.
But why? Like, why are those ones $4.99? But X-Men, which that's the one that's being written directly by Hickman, correct?
A couple of them are.
Okay, but I mean, I thought
Yes, X-Men is Hickman.
Yeah.
Excalibur is Howard. Looks like.
I just
X-Force is yeah, they're like all different, but yeah, Hickman is writing specifically that one.
it just seems backwards to have the one that's going to be like your, for lack of a better term, your marquee title within the X-Men relaunch, like be the least expensive out of all of them. Like, I mean, I'm interested in all of the stuff that's happened post Hoxpox, but I just I'm waiting for it all to come out in various collected editions because
then that's the other thing is like you drive people who can't afford them to make like a fiscal decision to trade or wait.
Yeah,
which doesn't
That's why I'm
help.
waiting on like Powers of X, House of X collected edition, just because it's easier for me to get it in one set than.
Yeah, guaranteed that hardcover is going to be 50% off on in stock trades when it comes out, so it'll be like $25.
I just signed up for that today. I am very excited.
Good.
Good. Well, because one of them is like comic shop exclusive, though. There's like two different books, like two different versions. I think that they said, yeah. Because like I read about that, and I went to like next time at my local comic book shop, I was like, yeah, put that in. Because one is like only comic book retailers, like or like shops can order it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that's not the one that's been on Amazon. So
no, it's not. No, it's like a different one, which is like not a bad idea to do. Like kind of like a prestige version for local comic shops.
I mean, it would pull me back to my local comic shop. Like, because at this point, the only thing I would go in there for is like any type of gaming stuff I would need.
So I think we just about covered this. Were there any books anybody wanted to talk about before we got into Crisis?
I've been reading the is it the Al Ewing and Invincible Hulk? Is that the one? Double check here. I have it on my reading list. Yeah, Immortal Hulk. I've been really digging that on the Marvel Unlimited app. That's been
that's like the number one book I think of 2019.
It's so goddamn good. Like I'd heard so many things about it. I'm like, all right, I'll finally start checking it out. And I tore through 12 issues in like a day and a half. Like he hits it so well with such an interesting way to approach the Hulk.
And like the art, that's the covers with the Alex Ross stuff, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I'm just so sad because I've only got like 3 more issues on my Marvel Unlimited app, and then I have to wait.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm currently reading. My library had this, the first compendium of Saga.
Oh, that's great.
It's so good so far.
Yeah, man. Although, if you can read it, pace it out a little bit, because isn't there like a year wait, if not longer, from the last issue that came out to when they're going to restart the system again?
I heard that this is going to be basically like this is the halfway mark for the entire story. The first 54 issues.
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's awesome. So
they're going to do another 54 issues, and I think that Brian K. Vaughan said that's going to be it.
That's perfect. We'll see if it actually ends up happening like that, but I'm totally okay with that.
But yeah, I'm loving that so far.
Nice. The one other thing I've been reading was Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History.
Is that the one that Paul Scheer wrote?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I've been wanting to read that because obviously I like him. The
first 3 issues are up on Marvel Unlimited if you want to check them out. It's pretty great. Like I've been really happy with it so far. Like at first I was kind of like, oh, this feels kind of Deadpool-y, like, but it's great.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what that character is if you read him in his other stuff. Like, he's super goofy.
But there's something about Deadpool I just can't get into.
Ghost Rider from Castle?
Yes. Yeah. If you read, I forget what all leads into it.
It's but one of the he basically was a ghost. He was Ghost Rider, and then everyone died, and he's literally just sits on Earth by himself for and like 1,000 years or something.
And then Galactus comes to eat Earth, and he becomes his herald. And then they go to try and take down Thanos, and then he ends up working for Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos kills Galactus, and then he's just kind of like on his own.
Yeah, there's Donny Cates did a Thanos run that introduces him, and then from there they did like I don't know, I want to say like a 3 or 6 issue run that explains like his origins and kind of his story up to where he is now. But yeah, Cosmic Ghost Rider is actually a ton of fun, and I'm pleasantly surprised by him.
All right, so I guess the only thing I've been reading is like I'm like way behind, but like I read Marauders #2, and I cannot recommend that book enough. Like of the X books, so all of them have had their first issue. X-Men and Marauders have had 2. Of like the like the mainline one, I like Marauders the most. I love what they're doing with Kate Pride now. Can't call her Kitty anymore. And what they're setting up with the Hellfire Club is like real interesting. And yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of it because I guess some of you guys are reading it. So like, yeah, I just love it. I love what they're doing. I like how they're evolving that character. And they were kind of seeing the repercussions of what happened in, I don't even remember, what was it, the first X-Men issue? I'm trying to remember with Xavier.
I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, I was looking for one of the Johns to help me out, but it seems like they're not paying attention.
No.
No, I just don't know the answer. Hence why I was.
I don't remember which book the ends with the Xavier thing.
I can't help on this one.
X-Force.
It was X-Force? Okay, yeah. So remember X-Men issue 2 is where Krakoa gets cracking on like the other island and everyone's grossed out. It's like, oh, it's not just that this is a party island, the island itself is partying.
Well, I mean, the island itself is a mutant, isn't it?
Yes-ish.
So, well, then, yeah, it's following what Nightcrawler said. It's
yeah.
just,
and I think, didn't we see like a couple of covers? I think they released like the covers for X-Men Fantastic Four, and one of them is with Doom, and he's just like holding a bunch of the Krakoan flowers in his hand, like crushing them.
Interesting.
Because that book is supposed to be about basically Franklin.
Okay.
Because yeah, in the Hoxpox, they're like I can't remember which issue. I think it was like maybe like Powers 1 or something like that. They're like they run into the FF or chasing Sabretooth, and they're like, oh, don't forget to tell your son that he has a family here whenever he wants to come join us.
That's kind of a shitty power play.
Oh, it's Cyclops.
Okay.
And I think he says it to Reed too, and they're like, oh shit. Because because I think Franklin is like one of like 3 Omega level mutants that aren't part of Krakoa. It's him, Legion, and somebody else. Or like Legion's MIA, and there's one other character that's like MIA.
Probably X-Man.
No, I don't think they included him in the list. Because like they have everybody else. Because Proteus is like there because he's one of the 5. They resurrected. What's his name? Jamie. Like Storm and I can't remember. I think Storm is not Omega. Jean Grey is there.
So
yeah,
Cable is there, but it's young Cable.
Yeah, it's Kid Cable.
Okay. I knew that happened, but I just wasn't sure. Yeah, I was going to say
that's where like he lives in the Summers house, where his dad. Oh yeah, and his dad and his mom have different rooms, and his mom's room has open doors.
Yep,
to his
on
dad.
either side.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the second issue of X-Men. It's Cyclops, what do you call it? Kid Cable, and what the hell is her name now? Because she has a goofy.
It's
name.
Rachel Summers.
Rachel Summers, but she has like some goofy new like mutant name.
It's Rachel Summers.
Yeah.
It's like the thing with like Rachel is the same thing with Monica Rambeau, where they keep on like trying to change and give her like a new code name. I'm like, just let her be Rachel.
It's like Jean Grey.
Monica.
Like it's the same thing with like Jean Grey. It's like no one wants to call her Marvel Girl. It's either Jean Grey or Phoenix. Otherwise, go away.
Marvel Girl also just seems so condescending.
Yeah, it kind of does.
That woman's 35 years old.
Yeah, well, depending on your timeline.
Like I don't know. Like I kind of read Cyclops and Jean as being in their early to mid 30s.
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, anyone over the age of 12 shouldn't be being called girl. Like, let's be perfectly honest here.
Her name is now Prestige.
Yeah, that sucks.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's a lame ass name. Yeah,
that's the worst.
Kid Cable's interesting though. I don't really know how I feel about him. This is the first time I'm reading anything with him. But
My whole thing was just going to be like, if Kid Cable isn't there and Adult Cable is, they better have given him a new body so he doesn't have the techno-organic virus anymore.
Kid Cable killed Old Cable.
Okay. I figured it was something like that. Because that makes sense.
This is why I'm going to be very glad to listen to Jay and Miles explain the X-Men soon, because there's a lot.
Yeah, because that podcast is very good.
I'm trying to think. So are we good to start Crisis?
Yes.
All right.
I actually have not had time to read Crisis because I'm like getting my house ready for people next week. So,
Well,
I think what I'm learning to do is I'm kind of reading as we're doing this, which is totally professional. I understand, but it makes it more fun for me that way.
Yes. So we are on issue 7.
By the way, I might dip out right now because I have cleaning materials that I like sprayed earlier that I might have to clean up soon. Since I didn't read Crisis, I think I'm just going to dip out now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But yeah, it was fun talking to everyone, and hopefully I'll be able to get caught up and be able to talk about it for next week.
Yep. All right. Bye. So, bye, John.
Yeah. Bye.
See you, John.
All right.
All right. So we're at issue 7. You guys have like your pages up, I guess.
Yeah. Alex,
yeah.
I have Alex sitting on a rock.
Yeah, so 7 and 8 are like 2 of the biggest issues of all time because they have like the 2 giant deaths.
I mean, 7 spoiled the death right on there, but you know.
Yeah, the cover. Well, they've done that with every single issue. Like they spoiled the death like right on because the Monitor was the last one, and he's dead on the cover.
Well, that's a bad look.
So we open with it's Pariah, Alexander, and Lila, who is now powerless. She used all her powers as Harbinger.
Yes.
And
I thought she died for some reason. Okay.
Yeah, she basically burnt herself out. So now she's just Lila. And they're basically talking about what to do, like the satellite's destroyed, and how the Earths are now. I'm trying to think of how to say this because it's 3 Earths, or is it just the 2? I don't know.
Just
basically,
the 2 because
it's Earth 1 and 2, and they're like folding in on each other, so there's crossovers.
Yes, because Earth 3 got destroyed in like the very beginning of this thing.
Yes, and so as well as time periods, because we see like we have like the Golden Age, like Captain Marvel family, where we have not Tony.
Seeing this Dr. Savannah after seeing Shazam the movie this year is very weird.
Yeah, I can't. What is that other villain's name? It's like Amygdala that's with him. The big dumb guy.
Mr. Savannah, I don't understand.
Yeah, he is basically his they're Master Blaster. That's who they are.
But I'm also surprised I don't see Savannah sicking people to eat heads for a family film. But whatever. Anyway.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So we see the Marvel family, and then Wonder Woman and 80s Supergirl with her awesome headband show up. And then Savannah and the other guy just get pieced out, and they seem to be teleported to Brainiac's ship. And we get like some conversations. Everyone's freaking out, doesn't know what to do. We get the other Wildcat.
Tony the Tiger looking motherfucker here is talking.
Yeah, I can't remember that character's name because Billy loves that character. Crap. I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, then we get like, what do you call it? On the next page is Pariah shows up to talk to Blue Beetle, Katana, like the Outsiders, Martian Manhunter, and basically tell them like, I'm telling you the truth. Everything's going away. That's why the skies are all red. You have Dr. Light, Starfire, and I'm trying to remember what the Earth X people are. Yeah, it's 3 Earths. It's Earth X 1 and 2. I think are the ones combining.
Blue Beetle delivers one of my favorite one-liners in this issue, which is, "Can the telethon, pal? You got our donation."
I'll join your Gab Fest. Yeah.
I don't know why, but that makes me laugh. That made me laugh so hard when I first read it.
Yeah, and so we're basically flipping around, and so they pick up a bunch of people and they bring them to Rock, and the title of it is Beyond Silent Night. So we have Pariah, Alexander Luthor, Lila with Blue Beetle, Old Man Superman, Shazam, Uncle Sam, Current Day Superman, and
Quark.
Lady Quark.
By the way, this whole image of them trying to fit on one single rock, I don't know why, it's just comical to me.
Yeah. It's wonky. Although I do love seeing that like we kind of get a good look at the 2 Supermen, and old like Golden Age Superman is like so like bulky. He like seems shorter.
Yeah. No, I can totally see that.
Golden
Yeah.
Age being, this is me being ignorant, Golden Age being the original Superman we know, or
Yes, the old man Superman is like the golden age.
I also kind of like the differences in the lines, how they're drawn between their faces.
Yes. What's funny is that like current day one actually looks a lot like the Diniverse version. Like the way his face is drawn to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. But basically, yeah, we have the conversation between all of them, and basically, like they're like, "Oh, what do we do?" And it's like, "This things can't be helped. The monitor's dead." But like, and then we get the this is like all the backstory, and Lila starts going, "Please listen to me. For our current crisis began 10 billion years ago. The Earth was little more than cooling gases." Showing none of the
so much extra setup in this, which is great, but oh man.
No, the crisis began elsewhere on the world called Oa, a world of immortals, of limitless hope, and of endless possibilities. The Owens were like, which we all know those are the Guardians. So this is the Guardians before they were the Guardians, when they were still tall. So they possess. Yes. Well, because if you don't know Green Lantern stuff, basically the Guardians split into two camps. The ones become the Guardians, the Owens become the Guardians, and they get short. And then the other sect get really tall and skinny and are called the is it the Controllers?
I thought you were going to tell me it was the Weapon Masters of Quard.
No, they're in this book, but no, they don't become the Weapon Masters. They become, I'm trying to remember if they actually like show it, because they become like this other race.
Also, why does Pariah with his hood on look like the little wizard thing from He-Man?
Orko.
Yes, he does. Yeah, they showed. I can't remember. I think they're called the Controllers. They're like giant doll pink. They created the Black Stars.
Okay.
But yeah, we basically go through and we visit a thing that has been revisited over and over again, including Doomsday Clock, which is Krona looking into the beginning of time. And oh my God, back in 87 or 86 this is, we see a giant blue hand coming out.
85 is what I'm seeing. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
So you were only like 47 then, Eric.
Exactly. 52. Thank you very much.
Haha! I see what you did there. I understood that reference.
Yeah. So the blue hand comes through, and they're like, "Oh shit, we're like not supposed to see this." And by seeing it, like they also see something evil, and the creation. So it's playing on that whole. I can't remember what it's called in quantum physics, like the observer thing. By observing something, you're actually changing it. So by Krona observing it, instead of one universe being born, a multiverse is created, as well as like a negative multiverse, I guess would be.
Yeah, the antimatter universe, it's saying.
Yes. And so basically...
And the rest of the Guardians go to him and we're like, yeah. He's like, basically, your forbidden experiments unleash an evil universe that you must be punished. I mean, you also created a multiverse, but whatever. We do not believe in death and will not rob you of your immortality, but you'll be reduced to disembodied energy to circle harmlessly throughout the universe forever, or something like that.
Yes, and this is the beginning of the Green Lantern movie, and that is why your villain is that giant amorphous cloud monster.
Wow, I call him the giant fart cloud.
Yes. And then we get the kind... Sorry, Ergo.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, on page 10 here, you do get to see what a controller looks like, because you have Pariah explaining they changed, evolved, and eventually they took the name the Controllers.
Okay, so I was they're basically the exact opposite of the Guardians. The Guardians are short and blue, and the Controllers are tall and pink. I mean, way better flair of costuming than just like red gowns.
Yes. Well, you know, they're short. There's only so much that fits them.
Yeah, so basically it's like, oh, everything is wrong because of the goddamn Guardians again, which is like a lot of DC comic stuff. It's like it's always...
Anything in outer space seems to be their issue.
Yeah, so we get the creation of the Manhunters, the Green Lanterns, you got the split between them, and then it's like, oh, and here's the creation of... So in the antimatter universe, it goes Quard and Oa, antimatter and positive matter, both with newly created satellites, and on these moons, newly burgeoning life, a creature, a blasphemous parody of humanity was born in that dark and evil universe, the Anti-Monitor. And then, as if to protest to some cosmic imbalance, its doppelganger was spawned on the lifeless moon of Oa. That was the day the Monitor was born. And then we have the Monitor creates the Weaponers of Quard.
Oh yeah, he did create them. All right, yeah.
Yes.
He took control of Cord with impossible ease, it says. But yeah. I'm
Yes. And then, as if possessed by some racial memory, hearkening to his own conception, he created an army of warriors. So basically, because like it burned in his head of like the Guardians creating the Manhunters, the Lanterns, he creates the Weaponers, which, if you know, Green Lantern stuff again, is where Sinestro gets his yellow ring.
Yep.
I believe, right? That's originally.
Yeah. Although, I mean, they're an antimatter race, so technically wouldn't Sinestro cause mass explosions by having matter and antimatter meet?
Well, he would just cease to exist by holding the yellow ring.
Yeah,
So basically, he creates this unstoppable Thunders, and among these, the Thunder Elite, those the Anti-Monitor believe the most evil, he changed and made his personal guard, and that's our Shadow Demons, which you weren't here, Eric, but one of the theories I heard is basically that the reason why the shadow creatures were created was to give the artists like a break because they're drawing so much goddamn shit in this book.
I believe it. Like, I believe Perez was probably like, guys, come on, give me.
There's so many panels, and this page has what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different panels.
Yeah. It's, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, George Perez is like the king of doing shit like this, but yeah, that's a bit much for one man to do. I mean, there's only so much BDSM he can be into that can ease the trouble of doing all this.
Yep. And so we go to basically, so that's when he realized he wasn't alone, and he sensed the presence of his other self, the positive manner universe. So the Monitor spent his life meditating Piccolo style in the other universe in a wasteland to grow stronger, and similarly they wage a beam battle.
This is the moment where I just hear dodge.
Yes. And you just basically so you have basically the classic Dragon Ball beam battle between the Anti-Monitor and the Monitor, and they wage war, and they have equal power, so there'll be no victor, and basically it takes them both out, and then they're both in like these comas. And so Old Man Superman is like, they're like, that's how they remained for 9 billion years. And Old Man Superman's like, wait, I've heard of Cord, but I never knew its origins. And then he's like, what happened? How did they get free?
And that's when Brian, being the bitch that he is like, oh, I get it. That was one of the sins I did.
Which, this entire section, which it is annoying, but I'm like, oh, this is so easily translated to a Harrison Wells. It makes so much sense why they chose him.
Why to Kavanaugh?
Yeah, but to like be if he is a Wells, because he's basically the smartest man on his planet, and he's a scientist looking at things, and they're like, oh, you know, I've discovered a multiverse, and I want to find the origins of it, and they're like, no, you can't do it, you're gonna mess everything up. And he's just like, basically, you're all fools. I'm like, I hate you, and you suck.
Okay, crazy idea I just had, and Eric, I know you don't watch the CW, so give me a second here.
Oh, go ahead.
To Lou. What if Nash Wells is Pariah?
I was wondering if that's going to be who he is, but I feel like it doesn't make sense currently because he seems to be.
I was thinking. I just saw that too. Now that you bring that up, I'm like, wait a minute. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a separate one.
Okay.
I'd like to quickly point out this one panel, the final panel on page 13, and I had linked the origin of one with the other. This next sentence is definitely what every 13-year-old was thinking when they were discovering masturbation. Safe, alone in my laboratory, I would discover the secrets of the universe.
Oh, man.
God damn it, Eric.
You say this, but like we had like a family thing yesterday, and my wife's teenage cousins like brought up,
No, not November.
if you didn't hear that, it would be my wife yelling, and everyone in the room stopped and like looked at them and were like, we don't need to know this, and stop.
No, not November is a fucking lie. No one tell me otherwise.
Yeah, they said they're the only ones of their friends still participating, and I was like, you don't need to know this. Like, why are you telling us this?
Yeah. Oh no, I'd hate to be his mom after November's over.
Well, we always used to defend
Merry
them
Christmas.
when their mom, she's a teacher. I would like, whenever they go out, it's like, oh, like I got you guys like a big box of condoms. Do you guys need condoms? And we're like, oh my God, something weird. Then we're like, you deserve all this after they said that yesterday.
Yes. Yes.
Lou, I appreciate that you have now officially somehow made every show on the Phantom Zone dirty in some capacity.
Oh.
Congratulations!
I'm only an acolyte. Eric is the true
And Lou,
origin.
you're definitely helping.
So yes, we basically see Pariah is shooting some sort of cube, and he looks and sees basically exactly what Krona sees, and thus starts an antimatter wave that destroys his universe, which gives antimatter a slightly edge and awakens him from his 9 billion years of slumber.
Sorry,
I
I'm just thinking of what Eric had just said. Being the antimatter wave now the equivalent of what happens when you come. Is that what this is?
I don't know
It
about
is
that.
white.
I just like to point out how stupid comics are for that line you just said, Lou, which is and Pariah is shooting some cube with a laser. That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. I see it and it makes sense, but if someone was explaining this comic to me, I would start burning.
But that's
every comic
exactly
I could
what's on the
find.
page.
I
It's like-
know, but it's just hearing it, even though I'm looking at the exact scene, I'm like, this is this thing I've ever heard.
And then while he's shooting lasers at a cube, he's in his antimatter chamber. He's like, "Nah, I'm all good. I survived. I'm okay."
Yeah.
And
And then he started crying.
Yes, he weeps for the first time of many times. He's alone, and he's alone for millions of years, all alone. And then the anti-monitor wakes up. He's like, nothing can stop him. And then that is when the monitor sees him and grabs him and basically does the thing where sends him to places to see the disruption. So every time a universe is destroyed by the antimatter, the anti-monitor gets just a little bit stronger and the monitor gets weaker since they are tied. Then we get the origins of Harbinger, which is kind of similar to like a Oliver Queen, where she's on a ship and the ship sinks and she's the only one alive. And Monitor, instead of landing up on an island, Monitor scoops her up and gives her powers.
I'd also like to point out, it seems like an odd inclusion to have Uncle Sam with these guys. I mean,
yes, I don't remember his power set at the time, but I guess he's like that Earth Superman.
I guess
his power set is America. That's his power set.
Like, the only way I knew anything about him was from like an Alex Ross done comic in the like late 90s, early 2000s, and then I'm like, oh, he's an actual character in the DC universe.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think he literally is somebody that like he exists because of the belief of freedom or something like that. He's like not actually a person.
Okay, so he's just an embodiment of an idea, essentially.
Yes. So
Okay.
he's kind of magic-y.
He's an avatar of sorts. Okay.
Yes. And basically, so we have Layla's like, then I paid him back by killing him, and old Superman's like, you were controlled. And then Lady Quark's like, I'm going to kill Pariah. And they're like, well, yeah, I'm pretty, Uncle Sam's like, I'm pretty sure he suffered. And then we see like the merging of the Earth. Yeah, it's I think it's like, is it more than 3?
Looks like, I mean, I can only see 3. No, there's 4 actually.
Yeah, it's 4. I think it's
4 there.
Earth 1, 2, X, and something else.
Oh, 5 universes will soon appear as 1.
Yeah,
and when
because
they occupy the same
the
place,
Captain Marvel one is a separate universe, because that's like the weird Marvel verse where they had, I'm trying to remember, because it's like Captain Marvel, Mary Marvel, then there was like the kid Freddy, and then there was like an old man uncle, and then Tawny is the tiger.
Yes.
And it was really wonky.
There are 15 panels on this page.
Oh my god, yeah. Because then we have 2 of the most powerful beings in DC Comics talking with Dead Man, which is the Spectre and the Phantom Stranger. And the Dead Man's like, why the hell are you doing anything? And they're basically like, we are actually powerless to this. We can't do anything.
What page are we on here?
So
17.
this is, when the trade, that would be 191.
Okay. Yep, I got it now.
And we basically have everybody's kind of looking, and in the side panels, it's the merging Earths close in. 5 universes will soon appear as one. When they occupy the same place at the same time, they will destroy each other, and the Anti-Monitor's universe will be all that survives. And so we're kind of bouncing around from the different groups, because there's Earth X, our current group, because it's like atomic, was it like an atomic bomb or something like that is his name? And then we have the Charlatan Earth, which is like the Blue Beetle Earth, and then the Marvel Earth. So yeah. Now we have like the expanded group that's on this little satellite, because they added even more people, which is we have Mon-El, Jade, Firestorm, the Ray, and Captain Atom. His
God,
very
there's
old
more
school.
There's more people on this rock now. How did this happen? Like how? Okay.
Yeah.
Eric, you sound very close to snapping.
What the hell? I have not seen this comic in many years.
Yeah,
so
I'm trying to look. There's like
I can't even tell because I think George Perez was just like, oh, whatever. Like for
There's
that
at
very
least-
top panel.
yeah, there's at least 15 people on it.
Yeah. And when there were only like 8 people on it in the very beginning of the issue, like it was already kind of crowded.
Oh man, that other the panel on the next page shows like a ton of people. So yeah, basically Alexander is like, all right, this is what I was trained to do in the 5 seconds I've been alive, and starts to glow and get like expand his power, and Moses is the universe, I guess.
Looks like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So he parts the Red Sea of matter and antimatter, and he creates a barrier for them to go through, and then Pariah leads them through it because he can sense antimatter, I believe, is like his ability.
That's a real
So-
crafty ability.
Yeah, through the breach they fly, the mightiest, the bravest, the greatest beings who ever lived, except there's no Batman. It is funny that like this is a story, like one of the biggest DC stories, and there's no Bat people involved in it whatsoever.
Or barely.
I feel like this was a time period where Batman wasn't nearly as popular. Like,
This
'cause
is
when-
just,
Mhm.
I think, so the same time as this, so we were talking about, and the other ones is Watchmen comes out basically the same time, and Dark Knight Returns comes out in what, like 87?
Something like that. It might have been 86, but
So like
I mean-
all 3 of these books come out kind of in the same like year or two, which is
Mhm.
kind of insane that like, man,
Yeah.
DC was cranking out like these giant stories. Because that's why like this book is the reason why the Watchmen is not the Charlton characters.
Mhm.
And then I
Yep.
guess it's after this is where Batman gets his total revamp.
yeah, I guess. I think like
yeah, because if we're thinking the 80s here, this was around the time where I think the stuff like
'Cause I think
Killing
it's-
Joke was coming out.
Yeah,
and
I think John said last time because Batgirl is in like one of the issues, and
Yeah.
Killing Joke is like 2 or 3 years after this.
yeah, because like Dark Knight Returns wasn't. Oh, like that was when like Batman people sat up and took notice of him again because Frank Miller made him all grim and gritty and squat.
Yeah, he got rid of all like the goofiness of the previous.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Knight. No, that's a goddamn movie, not a comic.
Final Rise.
86 February to June.
Okay, so it was a year
So it
after
comes
this.
out in the I think it comes out during this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, how many issues was this?
This is 12.
All right. Well, then, yeah, it came out like probably right near the end of this.
Yeah, because I think this ends in. I'm trying to remember what the last date of it is. It says it in the trade somewhere. It should. I feel like this ended in like March or something like that. Of
April, I think. Give me 1 second. Okay, hang on. Keep talking while I'm doing this. I'm looking.
So while John is looking that up, so we have everybody fly through. What do they think? So like we have our team of like our superpowers. They're flying through, and they basically like the final barriers in front of us. They go through it, and as they scream in cosmic agony, the interuniversal membrane is ruptured.
2 things really quick before you continue.
Yep.
One, I want to see how the CW does this visually.
I see. These are the parts where I'm like, I don't know if they're even gonna do this. If they're even gonna have them going into antimatter universe, unless this is how they plan to kill. Because this is where like they're the 2 big deaths that would be 2 of the characters, Supergirl and Barry Allen, would die. So how are they going to change that with Oliver?
Oliver Queen and someone else, maybe? I don't know.
Well, my thought is like I actually think they're going to kill them. And I think the difference is something's going to happen at the end where they're resurrected.
Okay.
So I think we're going to get a version of Kara dying and a version of Barry dying.
Okay. And then to answer your previous inquiry, this ran until March 86.
Okay.
So yeah, Dark Knight Returns starts like 3 issues before the end, something like that.
Yeah, I can't even find like the month that Dark Knight Returns came out.
It says February 86 on Wikipedia, February to June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so you have like
it's-
3 of the biggest comic books of all time coming out in basically the same year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
and almost
I mean,
on top of each other.
I guess that makes sense why they wouldn't have a whole lot of the Bat family in this,
Mhm.
because they had big plans for Batman after Dark Knight, so, or at
Yeah.
least they were hoping they would.
I wonder if that big blue hand then was like their plans already in the beginning for Dr. Manhattan that
Maybe.
we're still waiting to see. Could you imagine if like somebody comes out and says like, yeah, we had this idea back in 1986 and we just
Oh,
never got
man.
around to it?
That would just make Alan Moore even more happy to show
Imagine,
that.
no, imagine if it was Alan Moore, like somebody finally, he allows them to interview. He's like, yeah, I wrote a whole script for this. They just never did it. That's why I went to my castle.
Well, just I know Alan Moore has said like about Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, and it's whatever. I'm not going to get on this whole like Alan Moore is a crazy person
Speaking of
train.
Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, it's on the omnibus. The first volume's on sale at In Stock Trades. I just found that today.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
it's almost always on sale there. Yeah, like everything is like 45 to 50% off on a regular basis. Oh John.
Yes.
Oh John.
I'll learn.
But no, Alan Moore had said like that Jeff Johns' run on Green Lantern was just taking old ideas he had for Green Lantern and regurgitating them. Like, so it would be kind of funny if that was the case, that they ended up doing that. And and Alan Moore was just like, yeah, no, I wrote this a while ago, Jeff. What are you doing?
And it's great canon.
Mm-hmm.
Head canon. So, all right. So moving on, we get to the next page, and they see the Anti-Monitor's castle,
Fortress?
fortress, which I don't know why he needs, but it looks awesome. It's insanely detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're basically like all kind of stunned. I'm trying to look to see. So we have our two Supermen, Supergirl, Pariah, Wonder Woman, Captain Atom,
Mr. Holy Moly himself.
Yeah, Firestorm, Jade, yeah, Captain Marvel, the Ray, Mon-El, the new Dr. Light, Lady Quark, Alan Scott, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, and I have no idea who that guy in red and yellow is.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out too. Like, I don't think I've seen him any other pages so far either.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. So maybe he'll pop up again. So we pop inside, and Anti-Monitor is looking at a monitor, and he sees like all these. Yeah, they're coming. Their only reward shall be death. And he summons Psycho Pirate, and Psycho Pirate's like, "No, wait, I need 5 minutes. I blew my load controlling 7 planets at the same time."
And then he literally looks at him like, "You fucking what?"
Yeah, and Anti-Monitor like pimp slaps him to the ground. And it's like, you need to control those 3 Earths. Your need to control those 3 Earths was not anticipated. When the Monitor interfered with my plans, I merely used your powers to facilitate my plans, but I needed you here now. And it's like, you failed me. Very well. I'll take matters into my own hands. We have Captain Atom, Superman, Earth 1, and Supergirl flying around. I'm trying to think. The other team is Dr. Light, Pariah, and Lady Quark, the Ray, Firestorm. Yeah, there's that guy again. He's with Dr. Light and Old Man Superman. The castle seems to start coming alive.
Which is a kind of cool face, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and the rock monsters start popping out and fighting him, and punches Old Man Superman in the face. And he sits up and he has a nosebleed, and he's like, holy crap, I'm bleeding. He says, great Scott, but that's old man speak for holy crap.
He had
Great Scott.
Maybe the rock creatures were psychic or could read the future, and they saw what was going to happen in Infinite Crisis. That's why they decided to do that to him.
No.
So, yeah, Lady Quark is going nuts. The Ray and like everyone's basically fighting, and Anti-Monitor is just standing there, not being Darkseid, but totally doing a Darkseid. Yeah,
pretty much.
We still don't know who that one character is. Then we get to Superman and Supergirl are fighting them. Supergirl's like wrecking shit. Captain Atom's like, they can't be stopped, and she's basically like, oh yeah, well, what if I just punch them harder? And then she and blaster them, and then she like super breaths them away, because they break them up and they keep forming, and basically like nothing they can do can stop them. And Pariah's like flying through. He's like, guys, what are you doing? Like, we don't have time for this. We have to get along. And Dr. Light is like, follows him, and then Pariah gets zapped away. Or no, he gets like squished by the rock. And then young Superman follows Dr. Light. Look, that's so much stuff. This is one issue, by the way.
Yeah, we're only on one issue out of our regular 3. This issue
is gigantic.
I'm wondering if if that dude that's in red and yellow is Pharaoh Lad. If that isn't that a character from the Legion of Superheroes? I can't remember. I don't know.
I'm not a big Legion guy. So
I'm not either. I've read
wait,
little bit here and there.
He is on a page coming up.
Yeah.
They don't say his name though. Is he Rocket Red?
Maybe.
He looks like a dude inside of a suit, and the face is like glass.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to it in a second. So Superman gets inside with Dr. Light, and there's like a machine where Superman gets blasted and yells, and Supergirl's like, "Holy shit, I gotta go save him!" Flies in. Superman's getting the crap kicked out of him. Dr. Light's fighting him. She gets zapped, and then Superman gets punched in the face. Everybody else is fighting rock monsters. Supergirl's flying there as fast as she can. And she gets in the room, and she starts walloping the anti-monitor. And he says, "No more, girl. I'll not again be touched by one such as you. You humans rush madly into death. I swear, though, I shall come soon enough. First this one, whom you call cousin, then you and all the others. You shall be together only in the midst of eternity." And Supergirl gets up with her face bleeding, does like an old school Hulk in Capcom versus Marvel, like rips the ground up and is able to like I don't even like it. I've always seen that move and I'm like that doesn't make any sense, but does that whole carpet thing.
Yeah.
And then she proceeds to beat the ever-living shit out of the anti-monitor.
Yes, and this is where his look changes to the classic look. So he basically wrecking him, and he says, like, "You destroyed half my body. I feel my energy's waning. Thus I can no longer wait. You are dead. You, your cousin, your friends, your worlds, all shall die with you." And he's basically like, I'm trying to think, like, he's basically expanding his energy outwards. So it's just gonna like kind of go nuclear. And so Kara goes to Dr. Light, take my cousin who Superman's unconscious, and get the hell out of here. Dr. Light's basically like, no, like blah blah blah, and she's like, no, do it. And she like flies straight into the anti-monitor, into his machine, and this is where it explodes and she gets killed.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like basically like Superman, Dr. Light's like, I can't believe she did that. And the anti-monitor kind of crawls out and takes a literal rocket ship. But like,
yeah, I was going to say, yes, I like that he turns a rock into a ship. Yes, that's great.
Yep. So the fortress starts falling apart. Green Lantern is like, oh, I'll grab everybody. And then we have this character that we have no idea who he is talking.
Yeah.
And this is where we get the famous, like, Superman's holding Supergirl and basically like, don't give up. And she's like, I wanted you to be safe. It was always my job. Now the worlds have a chance to live. You taught me to be brave, and I was. And I love you so much for what you are, for how good you are. And she does.
And then older Superman has to calm down younger Superman because he's ready to literally snap a dude's neck.
Mm-hmm.
Snap an amorphous blob of energy's neck. Yes.
Yep. And so they get ready to leave. They got to go through the tunnel before it fades, and Superman picks up Kara's body in the famous pose, and they fly away. And then we get the headline from the Daily Planet that Supergirl's dead. And then we have is it 3 different broadcasts, or it's like one broadcast, and they're like jumping around because I believe it's Lana, Lois, and then we have Batgirl doing the eulogy.
Yep.
Hey, look, we see Batman. This is the first panel he's been in for a while.
And then Superman's outside the Fortress of Solitude. He wraps her up in the classic cape, says his own little prayer, flies her up into space to bury her somewhere we do not know.
Yes, I do love that one panel though. Like, do you guys realize what that gold thing and the other, like the 2 gold pieces are?
Yeah, it's the key and the door. Yeah.
It's like the old school, the very, very old school one that they ended up replacing. I feel like they did it in the cartoon first, where he has like a regular sized key, but it just weighs like the amount of like a planet or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't that in All-Star Superman that he did that, where he was showing Lois his Fortress of Solitude, and like he had the key underneath the
it's like
doormat.
It's like a little doormat, yeah. And she's like, "Wait, you leave a key?" And it's like, "Well, no, like it's made out of something that like if anyone can actually pick this up, then they deserve to come in."
Yeah, yeah.
And that is basically the end of this issue.
That's like 42 pages. That's crazy.
These is where things start getting, how do I say this? Insane.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how many
there's
issues
so much explanation.
Well, they had to do some of that. I understand because
I do too, but it's just like if things aren't established by this point.
Yeah. Well, it's what that was issue 6. So
issue
seven. Yeah, I mean for 12 issues, like I think that's a good place to do it. Like you can have like all the action that leads up to them facing a foe that they can't beat, and then be like, all right, well, we have to do a backstory on this now. And you can
the Anti-Monitor's backstory, Layla gets like a 2 seconds and then like 3 pages of Pariah.
Yeah, it's they built the mystery. Like I understand why they did it this way. It was a way to keep people coming back, and they can also then work George Perez into a tiny nub of a man by like, here, put 22 panels on this page.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. So the next one. Yeah, so the next one
confirms is Connor's favorite character, Angry Helicopter Noises Man.
Yes. Which I believe is not nearly as... I'm trying to think. I think this is pretty long, too. I'm trying to see
a long issue. This is a very long...
It's like 27 issues or 27 episode pages.
All right, 26. So do we want to do one more or call it an episode for us?
I'm going to do whatever. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, I'm going to say let's call it an episode. Like it's...
All right, I can do that.
That was a really long issue.
Plus, we also had a lot of the news we had to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we can do like 3 and then 2. But yeah. Oh, because this was a double-sized issue. So it was basically like we did 2.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially.
So it is a 12-issue maxi series with part 7 being a double size. And trying to see
it makes sense. I mean, they had Kara dying, so had to pay proper respects to that.
Knowing with the next issue, I think she gets the way better death of the 2.
Yes.
Barry, because I rereading this not too long ago, Barry's death is really weak. And we'll talk about it in the next one, but yeah, it's not as there is a lot of weight given to Kara's death, her actions. And I kind of want them to do this death. I understand bringing Melissa back because that show, I'm guessing it does fairly well. She's a great actress, but I think seeing her act the shit out of that would be, not seeing some sort of version of this play out on the show would be a huge waste of doing the story.
Oh, they definitely will have some version of this. I can't see them not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, when you announce Crisis on Infinite Earths, you kind of have to have Superman holding Supergirl crying, and you kind of have to have Barry die.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought it was going to be Barry holding Oliver.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was imagining was going to happen. But
the more of the shows I'm seeing this season, I think they're going to kill them both off, and then they're going to figure out a way to bring the 2 back. But I think we're going to get the deaths. I don't think there's any way in the story to avoid that. And if they just straight up kill Kara, and that is why we have this other Superman show coming, I applaud their balls.
I could see that, but that seems like a shitty move to pull on Melissa Benoist.
And unless she's been known
now,
about
if for some reason, let's say for Barry that Wally show. I know he probably won't, but Wally shows back up, for example.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's the big
episode
that's the big repercussions of what happens to Barry. It's not Barry's death as more of the elevation of Wally West.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they could just change it out that Wally is the one who sacrificed himself, but it won't have as much impact because he hasn't been on the show nearly as much. And I would go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because we don't know. I think the only people we really don't know who they are coming back are more the Flash people. Because I don't know if they're going to get what's her name that plays Jessie Quick because she's on the show. The guy that plays Wally? I don't know if we know he's coming back. I don't see how he wouldn't.
Yeah, that would make sense. I was just going to point out, I'm just paging through the next issue and seeing classic John Stewart Green Lantern outfit when he has when he has the
fro?
small afro and the mask on, and then also it looks like Blue Devil has a bigger role in this series than Batman has in the entire thing.
Yeah, Batman's like not in this series whatsoever.
That's
which
ridiculous.
which is basically why he's in, like, the other two Crises are basically Batman stories.
Yeah,
I feel
pretty
like.
much. Pretty much. Well, I mean, Infinite Crisis is kind of about all three of them, but yeah, definitely Batman is definitely a big, big part of it.
Yeah, it's mostly like Superman, the Flashes, and then it's really like not anybody else. It's just kind of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the one issue we have coming up, not the next one, the one after that, is the one where I'm like, oh, this is like a whole section that they could have just cut out. With the whole villain thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is the worst part of the story, and it makes no sense, and it doesn't do anything.
No, I agree.
It feels like padding.
Yeah.
Although I do love seeing, we get to see Aqualad in the costume that inspired Bubble Boy from SpongeBob.
That's nice.
And I can't remember who's he fighting. He said in King Shark, and it's not Black Manta, it's somebody else. Oh no, it is Black Manta. Oh my god, the Chemo is in the next episode. And there's like another Green Lantern villain. There's a lot, like we see like all the goofy villains. Oh, Vibe is in this, and Elongated Man. Yeah, so we get to see like a bunch of like these side characters. Yeah, like almost no Batman.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess having not seen it in a long time, I guess what are your thoughts so far on the issue or on the entire thing, guys?
I just read it like a month ago, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's as wordy as I remember it being, and that's partially why I haven't really gone back to it recently, because I've lost a lot of patience for comics from like the early to mid 80s just because they hadn't learned how to pace a story. It was all tell and not show.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, and I can't deal with that. Like, I feel
that's why
like
there's like, you said there's what, 15 panels on that one page?
Yeah, man. Like, that's too many. That's too many. I mean, and there's a difference between doing that and like a Watchmen, where obviously Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore had a plan on why they were doing that and the synchronicity of an issue that has like parallel panels, whatnot. But dude, no, not 15 panels for an issue that's ostensibly about superheroes punching something that's made out of antimatter.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, like this one's a double size. We get the whole backstory, but after the backstory stuff, it is still so much talking, like back and forth, where there is none needed. It could be like a couple lines between Anti-Monitor and Psycho Pirate, and then the rest of it is just them flying through the castle trying to find them, but they're just like jibber jabbing to each other about nothing, which is why we blow through it.
Like, I can understand for some of the bigger scenes, like, you know, the death of or at least the absorption into the Speed Force of Barry Allen and like the death of Kara. Like, I get that. Like, I understand why they're going to be wordy there because, you know, these are characters that have been around forever. But like, dude, I don't need to have Blue Devil talking for like 14 panels in a page about like how he's dealing with the Omega Men and like, who are you guys? And I've never seen these suckers before. Like, dude, shut up. Like, just a product of its time is the best way for me to describe it.
Oh yeah, well, like there's like in the next issue, it's like there's like a crazy thing where it's Martian Manhunter, Firestorm, Firebrand, I think, Vixen, and Tio Morrow and Cyborg just talking about rebuilding like Red Tornado, just like bullshitting with each other.
Why? We don't.
And then it's like, oh, the atom is inside him. It's like it's so like I'm looking at it. It's like there's so many thought bubbles, like or speaking bubbles on the page. It's crazy.
I can't deal with it. It's just too
and
much.
this is the scene where like the Blue Devil thing pops in because they cut from that to Jon Stewart visiting the Blue Devil so that he can show up and do something with Red Tornado.
Yeah. I just yeah. I'm sorry, John. I'm not gonna say that like it's a bad series, like because it's very important. It did a lot of things that were amazing at the time.
Yeah, it is the original crossover.
Yeah. But man, it's painful to go back to after reading comics for the past, like, I don't know, since I was like 16. Like when I
feel
really
like
started.
I've read comics recently that have like 7 word bubbles in an entire issue. Like,
yeah, man.
And I'm like fine
Yeah.
with it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. If you're telling the story visually, because that's what comic books are, a visual medium, cool. I don't need you to be explaining to me what I should be feeling in a panel that should be done well. But anyways, that's me. What were you going to say, John?
No, I was going to say, we were mentioning the Stargirl show coming on DC Universe before.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out the actress playing her is apparently showing up in the crossover.
Oh, wow.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Because like
Okay.
I'm trying to remember, like I could see her, like if she was going to replace someone, I could see her being the replacement for Dr. Light.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah. But
Although I
yeah,
wish-
again, like, and going back to like, I'm like flipping through, I'm like, oh, there's like almost an entire issue's worth of stuff with the villains that could just go away. It's entirely unnecessary to the story. But I do think you're right. It's like this is where we were, and it's not like we couldn't have gotten to where we are without this.
Exactly.
And that's kind of why we're going over it. That and with the show coming out. So
Well, that, and if you look at like, I can never get the ages right. Like original like Spider-Man comics, like the first ones, like that would be what, Golden Age? Is that Bronze Age? What is it?
Golden Age, yeah,
Okay.
and that would be in what, like the 60s?
Something like that. Like let's just look at that as an example. Like there are so many friggin' word bubbles like in those comics. I understand where they're coming from with this stuff, but man, like part of moving on with any medium is to innovate and like not exactly have to reuse everything that the forebears did.
Yeah, I think it would help us to the next thing to pick something maybe in the 90s, because I feel like that's when everything went the total opposite way, and it's just images, craziness.
Yeah.
And to kind of see where it went, and then like, oh, it took like going through those 2 decades to kind of get us into the balance that we have now.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Read Onslaught. That would be.
Oh God. When is I'm sorry, like Dark Phoenix is the 80s still, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh. Yeah,
And that was during Claremont's run, so that's still going to be very wordy.
Yeah, we need to like figure out. I want to figure out like a not DC 90s comic that would work.
Do something from Image in the 90s. That would be the quintessential Image, not words type of deal.
So Spawn
Or like Wildcats or something like that.
Was Sin City talky?
Kind of, but
well,
not
Sin City
really
is
this
different
level.
because it's a play on a noir film.
Yeah,
Okay.
like pulp and noir stuff.
Yeah, so it's like it's talking in a different way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
was gonna say we could
still-
also do Kingdom Come, but I think that's also pretty wordy. And we just did DC, so
but that's that once again. Like Kingdom Come was what that was that the late 90s? Was that early 2000s? I can't remember.
let me check.
It like that was done in a much better way. Like that was
96.
Yes.
yeah, that's Alex Ross, so they're not going to clutter up his art with a lot of word bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, and he's a great visual storyteller. So, you know, more so than I think a lot of people can be, because just the way his art style is, like he can get across emotions much easier than I think some artists can.
Yeah. Well, it's also like his art style is like so specifically like he uses actual models, like he draws faces better. Not to say like Perez isn't doing that, because there are times in this book that like it's just like they don't let it stick. They don't let the art speak for itself in many things. It's like, oh, people aren't going to get it, so we have to write like a paragraph worth of stuff of what they're saying because people can't read faces because they're drawn.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not saying that to denigrate Perez's artwork. Like Perez's artwork is amazing. Like anybody who can do 15 panels and not have a drop in quality in any of them, nothing but kudos for. But it's still that whole thing that like it. Like you said, they found a nice balance after the 90s where it was all art and no substance. So they kind of found a nice medium ground. And I mean, you still have stuff comes out that's still like, oh, this is all just telling me exactly what I should think. Like, I would argue some Hickman stuff can be like that in some ways, and even some Morrison stuff.
Well, yeah, which I think it definitely is. Like, if you read Hawksbox, like there's a reason why there's pages that are just white panels with it's just text you're reading. You're just reading. There's not even art. It's like, I get the point of it, but like, yeah, it's like a different. I would almost rather have that than have like the art inside have characters just like
Yeah.
I'm losing what the word is.
Explaining it.
Yeah, exposition dumping on me.
Yep.
I'd rather have it be done like in a separate page, just like as
Yeah.
text.
Definitely.
Like in book
Definitely.
form.
And that's something that Hickman's done since he's been doing comics. Is just he's always had like interstitials like that where it'll be whatever a listing of like all the shield like caterpillar bases and like maps and all that. Instead of having them have to explain it, it's just like, all right, here's the information that they're absorbing, but I'm doing it so you guys are seeing it the same way they are.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, I guess that kind of wraps us up. John, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, we pretty much covered everything we need to do.
Yeah. So, I guess don't forget to check out all the other podcasts. The three of us are on the Phantom Zone stuff all the time. You know, After Darks, movie specials, 3 a.m. files. I do believe
you guys are AM files more than I am.
And then hopefully we'll be doing something this week for Thanksgiving. This is like our comic book super Thanksgiving. Like, well, what did I say it was like a double issue for the Crisis.
Yeah, double issue special.
Yeah. So we'll do that. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe and tell some friends.
Yeah, do that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.
See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to the Phantom Zone.
And now, talks.